Okay, Silver Spectrum smartphone literacy class, online safety. So today be talking about cloud safety, be talking about several features such as auto sync, whatnot. So here I got a meme says, what if I told you, yeah, the cloud is just someone else's computer? Well, it is. Basically, it's just a giant, almost like a mega computer known as a server. When you use, I guess, Google Docs, like our Google Drive, any Microsoft product like Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, or Dropbox, you're basically using their giant mega computer. Google Drive has their own giant server. From there, when you edit your document, it usually updates in real time. Sometimes it used to, like, I think it updates now almost real time. Before, it would just update every 5 minutes or so. But now it basically, how it works is when you have a file on the cloud, or yeah, a cloud, like a giant shared server, whether it be Google Drive or whatnot, or a Microsoft server, it basically updates as you go. It takes basically almost like a mini copy, and it continuously saves your file as you edit it. So yeah, it's highly, well, convenient. It allows you to share access with a number of different people. Again, it's not like you're saving it on your own computer and you continuously have to save as you go. So if you forget to save, the cloud kind of now just does that for you. So that's kind of another interesting feature. You can, because it's on basically the server, internal server, once you sign into your basically your Microsoft account or your Google Drive account, you can access it. It's not saved to your computer. It's on their own server, so you can access it from any number of your devices as long as you're signed in. I'm going to talk a bit more about online safety. So cloud stored data, it's basically shared data. It's on, if you're using Google Drive, you're using Google's infrastructure, using their server to kind of process, store, and continuously update your data. Typically, if it's on Google Drive, you can have access to basically permissions, who has access to what. So usually, yeah, basically you can have it, basically your data is private, well, relatively private. Like, it's not basically like an open access internet file. You can limit, basically, you can also add basically to turn, if you're working a group project in college, or if you have Google Drive with your business, you can also share who has access to specific folders and whatnot.
Keeping that in mind, any data you store on the cloud, it's stored on someone else's computer, which means someone else's has physical access to it. So that can allow them to do data mining into your stuff. Something as simple as your Google Drive. You put your files in there, and then they can run their bots on it and find a whole bunch of information about you. AI training. Adobe did this. One of the most evil companies on the planet. They switched to an evil model where you have to pay monthly to have access to the service, to the software. Back in the day, you bought the software and it was yours. For as long as your computer can run it, you can have it. And then if you want the new version, if you want it, you go buy the new version. Now it's like, no, monthly subscription fee, whether you use it or not. He says, well, I'm not using it. I'm just going to cancel my subscription. Okay, you prepaid for the year and we're keeping that money, and you cancel it. Okay, you lose all your files because you can't save locally anymore. To make sure that you keep paying your membership, your files are stored on their servers. It's in their end user agreement now that by using their service, you're authorizing them and giving them a non-exclusive worldwide license to train their AI agents on your work, so that they have AI agents who can now create art, because it's been trained on art that you created, and you cannot opt out of it. Internal training. Tesla, because it has cameras and microphones, it's meant to be used with their autopilot and self-driving mode. It's meant also to be used to protect the car. They have a Sentry mode, which Whenever the car feels a human near it, it just turns on the cameras and start recording in case something happens to your car, right? Well, you could be parked in your garage. You go in there to do something, and the car senses you and starts recording sound and video. And this goes back to head office because they need to, under the guise of always improving their system, their detection, and see, like, why did the camera come on? Because there's always squirrels running around, right? We don't want to turn this on just for a squirrel, but at the same time, they don't want to miss something obvious. So they need to fine tune and refine it. And the only way to do that is to look at actual footage that came from actual cars. There's people that got caught getting frisky in the garage. The car was watching the whole time. Yeah. Google Home Assistant, we talked about that last time. It's always listening because it's always listening for those wake up words, right? So the speaker, it sends a bunch of audio to home so they can analyze, like, did we miss an activation word or whatever? They want to get it just right, right? Which means it's sending conversations you're having at home back up to Google or Amazon or wherever you're getting your little home assistant from. Now, they're supposed to keep it confidential and anonymous. They're supposed to, but stuff you expect to be private is now being beamed out into somewhere else. That's not right, right? The COVID doctor, one of the COVID doctors. Back in the COVID days, in some parts of the US, there was a complete lockdown, worse than here. You couldn't even go to the doctor. It's a pandemic. You can't even go to the doctor. Imagine that. So one doctor, and probably more, but one of them got caught. One of his patients had a child, very young child, like a couple of months or a couple of years old, like baby. And they had a rash in a private area. The doctor says, well, I can't see you. There's lockdowns. Tell you what, take pictures and send them to me. Pictures are too big. High resolution pictures are too big to send by email. So you have to send by Google Drive. Happened to me just last night. And then Google had an automatic search going on because they want to screen, like, don't store any child pornography on our stuff. It flagged those pictures as child pornography. Cops went to the doctor's home and says, what are you doing with this thing? Right? I'm a doctor who's got a rash, right? So that's, leaks. I don't know if those are still a thing, but back when smartphones were new, it seemed like every couple of years there's like a major leak of celebrity private pictures. And it's not like one or two. It's like they got dozens of them at the same time. It's not somebody going around hacking each person's phone one at a time. Most, if not all, of these celebrities were using iPhones because it's the social prestige thing to have. And you just need to hack the iCloud or the iPhoto or the whatever. You have access to any account you want. They found accounts of people that are interesting, and those pictures were popular. So again, and a lot of times, especially the iPhone people, when you have a picture on your phone, you think it's on your phone and that's it. No. Apple backs up your pictures to iCloud as a convenience for you. Something happens to your phone, you didn't lose your pictures. You change phones, you still have your old pictures, right? It also gives you single point of failure to have these made public. This one, I fell out of my chair laughing the first time I heard this story. So, we all know Americans. You heard of them, right? They love secret stuff. They love military stuff. They have secret bases everywhere, including in Canada, Newfoundland. At least they used to. And of course, it's in the word. It's a secret base. And not like the secret police. Like we went to Washington one time. I have a picture I can show you. The Secret Service, they have patrol cars with a logo. Remember what it said on the side? Secret Service. If you tell everybody about it, it's not a secret, right? So there's secret U.S. bases abroad, outside of the U.S., that were discovered because what's one thing soldiers always do? Training, right? They go for a run, they go over this. When we start getting smartphones, initially we had a bunch of gadgets coming out with them. You had the Fitbit or the whatever. It tracks your heart rate, your breathing, your steps, and all that stuff. You're going for a lap. on your secret base, and the thing syncs your Apple and reports your position on the Apple service, people can find a person running laps in the middle of nowhere. Because these places, if you go on Google Maps, they're blacked out. Or, well, blacked out was in the olden days. Then people realize that if it's blacked out, you know there's something there, right? So they just put some generic terrain there, so it looks like there's nothing there, except there's a person running laps around what looks like an athletic track, right? I think I found a U.S. secret base right there. Why would they go there? Now, the positives, because there are some positives, lots of positives about cloud storage. It's easy to share stuff with others, right? If you're collaborating on a project, you don't need to email the file to everybody and everybody makes their own changes and they send it back to you. And then you have to start, Frankensteining everybody's changes together. There is one file in one folder. Everybody can get into it, make their changes. Everybody sees them and actually in real time. You can actually see the other person's cursor with a little color label on them. For collaboration, it's awesome. Or just, I make one file, I send a link to everybody. If anybody needs it, it's in this one folder. You get a link to the one file instead of everybody having their own offline copy, right? It's great for that. Access over multiple devices. Back in the day, you had a term paper due. If you started it on your computer at home, you can't work on it from school because the file's back home. Unless you email it to you, email it back, it's annoying. If the file's in your Google Drive, it doesn't matter where you are. You can even open it on your phone when you're on the train and just at least proofread it or show somebody, what do you think, right? You can access it from multiple devices from the one account. Google Drive and Dropbox are two really popular. Dropbox less so now, but they were really big back in the day. These are the two most common services used for cloud storage. Google Drive, it's free, comes with your Gmail. You have a stupid amount of space, how big it is. It's huge. Unless you're the sound editor of a podcast and it's been running for 5 years and all the episodes are in there, then you realize, like, I need to remove some of these. I can only keep the last 6 months worth out of 5 years. It's supposed to be a backup. It's fine. Dropbox was great because it gave you a ridiculous amount of space. And this was awesome because it was one of the first ones to do this. You install it on your laptop, your desktop, and your phone. You tell it which folder or folders you want to sync. As soon as you put a file in there on one of those devices, that device says, oh, my file changed. It sends it to Dropbox. Dropbox says, the file changed. It sends it to all the other ones. So your change is near instantaneously propagated to all your devices. It's a great way to move stuff from one computer to another. Let's say you get a new laptop. You just set up Dropbox with the same account on both laptops, set the share folder on both, and on your old laptop, grab all the stuff you want on the new laptop, just drag it over to that shared folder, and it's going to upload it through the internet and download it over here. One move, you're done. Autosync, so that's the feature we're talking about. It's those monitored folders. Any changes that happens in there, new file that you upload, a file that you modify, it automatically gets uploaded to the service, and then the service pushes it to all the devices that are linked to that account. It's useful for backups because, again, same copy in multiple locations, right? And also these two, because they're so big, and they're not in your house. They're not on your devices. They can be mirrored and copied to your devices, yes, but that's an extra spot outside of your house where you can keep important files, right? Your house burns down, including your laptop, desktop, and your phone. And important files that you put on there, you can still access them once you log into some other computer with your login credentials. Google Drive seems to have the same features. So it sounds like it's the same thing as probably from Microsoft. Yeah, your university loves Microsoft. It's equivalent to Google Drive, except it's run by the evil empire. So you have all these problems with it. Doesn't matter which service you have, right? So data mining, whoever the server that you're on, okay? Google for Google Drive, Microsoft for your SharePoint, they can see all the data. So if they want to, they can go find stuff about what you guys are doing, what you guys are working on, and know more stuff about you. And then all of a sudden you have targeted ads came out of nowhere. How come they know we're working on this? Because you shared the file with them. It's on their servers. They say, no, it's secure. We're not doing that. Yeah, right. AutoSync. Stupid OneDrive. This is where I started getting mad last week or yesterday. OneDrive by Microsoft. I didn't put it in the widely used services in the previous slide, like Google Drive and Dropbox, because Google Drive and Dropbox do not try to lose your files. This one does. Microsoft pushed a Windows update earlier this year or late last year that forced everybody to store their personal files from their desktop or laptop in OneDrive. You can't opt out of it if you know about it. If you don't realize it's doing this, it's too late. Most people have more files in terms of size. They have more stuff on their laptop than the OneDrive storage that you have. So what it does is it tries to cram all those files in there. The ones that make it, they make it. The ones that don't, they get corrupted, including your local copy. You didn't do anything to it. Just OneDrive grabbed it, put it in the queue to get moved to this other place. It didn't get to finish that, so it's still trying to finish that. Meanwhile, it's still holding the file. You can't open it, and it's lost forever. A lot of people lost a lot of files during that stupid, short-sighted, boneheaded move.
I did some file transferring with the cord.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, I've got a little cloud icon on the screen.
Okay.
As in, I'm trying to go from phone to my laptop hard drive.
Yeah.
And it's listing cloud pictures. What the hell's going on?
It
then went to a green circle with a white check mark in it.
You running Windows?
Probably.
I think that's the OneDrive. It's copying it to the OneDrive. Like I said, they forced everybody. You can opt out of it if you know about it. But friends of mine, they were traveling. They turned it on at the airport halfway across the planet to check in or something. And that's when it decided to force the update. And it starts syncing their stuff to the cloud. They couldn't stop it. At the airport, they're looking to check in. They're not looking at changing settings. And then next thing you know, a bunch of important files got corrupted and permanently lost. As long as you have enough space on your OneDrive, your files are fine. If you have more files in terms of size than the size of your OneDrive account, you're going to lose whatever's extra. Paywall. Dropbox did this. There's probably other services that did this too. Dropbox used to be awesome because it was free. You had a lot of space. And I don't think you had a limit on how many devices you can sync to this, right? Now, the free plan has, I think it's still the same amount of space, but you're limited to only 3 devices. Which means if you're already syncing between 3 devices and you get a new laptop and you want to use this to move stuff to your new laptop, you have to remove either your phone or your desktop to do the stuff, because that will be 4 otherwise, and then remove the old laptop. And it's a minor thing, but it's an example of what we call enshittification. So, enshittification, it's a proper English word, it's a new one, from a few years ago. It was come up by a guy named Dr. something. He's not a doctor, his name is Dr. something. And it's the concept, and it's more and more common today, that services and products that used to be good were deliberately made more inconvenient and less desirable over time. Okay, we'll have a bunch of examples later today. But putting something free behind a paywall all of a sudden, that's an example. This was free, now you have to pay for it. Well, I don't want it anymore if you have to pay for it. You make a service or a product, and it's actually useful, and it's good, and people like it, and people start using it. Whether it's free or paid, doesn't matter. And then after a few years, once you have like 80% of the market or whatever, make it shitty. So now you have to pay more, or you're removing features, or there's ads everywhere, right? Look at Amazon Prime. Used to not have ads because you're paying for it, right? And now there's ads. If you want fewer ads, not no ads, if you want fewer ads, you have to pay a higher level, right? Netflix did the same thing, right? That's enshittification. Make it good, make people depend on it, and then make it shitty. Service sunsets. Google Plus was supposed to be the other big social media. It never really took off. I'm not sure why. I I was on all the social medias, just had an account on all the social medias, and I didn't see anything bad about Google Plus. Says I don't want this one because it's missing features, or I don't like how I didn't see any of that. Just it wasn't as widely adopted as the other ones. So Google decided to just sunset the service, which means they're going to stop offering this. They gave you a date. After this date, we shut down our servers. So any stuff you stored on the Google Plus, not the Google Drive, the Google Plus specifically, if you had pictures on your profile, special messages from a friend or whatever, after this is gone, those are gone, right? And this happens. Google Plus was a major public-facing service, but there's a lot of products that this happens to. Lost passwords. A lot of services are really good at recovering your password if you forget your password. I've helped a lot of people over the years recover their password. They forgot what their password was and they need to get back into that account. And I just help them do this, do this, do that. And like, hey, ooh, there you go. Yahoo, though, they don't do that. It's the only major service provider that I know of that it's like they don't want you to go to their stuff. It's all, that's what it feels like. So I used to have Yahoo email addresses, 2 of them. And they were my mail emailing addresses at the time. And then I didn't like what they were doing to the mail service. I didn't like how it worked. I didn't like how it looked because they changed it. Non-enshrification changed, just like I don't like the direction it's going. It's clunky. It's weird. I don't like it anymore. I went to Google, Gmail. I liked it. I started using that as my main thing. And then there's still 1 or 2 things that I couldn't change the contact email for. So it was still my Yahoo. And then I went to check back on one of them, and I remembered my password. But Yahoo decided to start a 2-factor authentication thing. We'll talk about that later today. And I never set up a 2-factor authentication with them. I never set up recovery questions because they didn't have them back then. That's how long I've been on Yahoo. This is turn of the century. This century, not the last one. And they also had an app that I never installed because I only use this on my desktop. So when you enter your password, they said everybody needs a 2-factor now. So what's your security questions? You don't have any. Error. Okay. What's your, we'll push a notification to the app. I don't have it. Well, then you can't log in. And they don't have a customer service. They have a forget password thing, but you need to do one of the other things, either security questions or the app. I'm going in circles, and there's nobody you can contact for this. They don't care. So I lost access to those things. Digital assistants. We talked about them last time. So they're always listening, aren't they? And the muted mic, we talked about that. Even though your mic is muted, it's still listening. I don't know what's the point of muting your mic with this thing. Because you guys remember the picture last time. You mute the mic, and then you try to speak, and then Google says, yeah, you try to speak because you're muted. How do you know I'm trying to speak? You're listening, right? The muted mic means, I don't know what it means. The example I gave myself personally was for the Google Chrome on the browser. So when in that case, when it's muted, it's not transmitting to the rest of the video conference, but it's still listening for me. Why it does that? Because I can't give any vocal commands. It's a desktop. But for this, the muted mic, and it's still listening in case you want to unmute it. Are you really muted then? Data mining. Some of us try to speak inappropriately near someone else's device in the hopes that they get targeted ads based on that. Why am I getting ads about teenage pregnancy? Hey, man. That's my favorite one. So because they're always listening, they know what's going on in your house. They know what you're talking about, right? When I was researching for a topic, because I'm still working on these slides for the very, very last one, and I start Googling a few information, I start getting ads about disability benefits. It's always listening. It doesn't care if it's right or wrong. At the same time, it's also never listening. Anybody who has one of these things, it knows. You ask Google a question, or Alexa, it starts giving you this freaking 3-page long answer, and then you got the information you wanted after the first 2 sentences. You want to shut up. You have to tell them to shut up, and it says, no, I'm still, talking. Wait your turn.
In the last week, my wife and I were having a discussion.
Uh-huh.
Alexa joined in without us asking.
That's not creepy.
We did not mention her name. accents, and she went off. I don't have an Irish accent. Would you like me to continue on with my Canadian accent? We'd like you to shut the hell up.
I started hearing recently a few anecdotes where, yeah, they chime in even though you didn't summon them. Like I said, they're always listening. They might have other wake up words that to them sounds like you're trying to change their setting. And maybe that's what triggered it, or they're triggered to be more lively because they know people are lonely. I'm never that lonely. I'd rather talk to a robot lady. Hey, had any good oil recently? Network sniffing. This is a sneaky thing that most people don't know about. This applies to Home Assistants. It applies also to yourself online with your browser. So for digital assistants, because they're on your Wi-Fi, there's this little utility you can have. It's on your laptop. Also, you can use it yourself if you want to. It's a simple command that detects all your peers, all the other devices that are connected to the same Wi-Fi. Okay, so if you have a Roku, another laptop, a phone, a whatever, toaster that's connected to your Wi-Fi, it will identify the we call the MAC address. So that's the serial number of the wireless chip on it, because that's more or less unique. It'll detect, often it'll detect the manufacturer of it. Often it'll detect the operating system on it. So between those three things, you get enough information that we can uniquely identify each house, right? You're not going to have the same model of phone and laptop and toaster and Roku with the same serial numbers. It's impossible, right? So that's a digital fingerprint done by network sniffing. When you go online, anytime you visit a website, your browser gives to that website which browser you have, which version of it, what's your screen resolution. It needs all these things to display the website properly. It's harmless at that point. It's needed for the service to be delivered. And also the operating system that you have, because that also affects how graphics are rendered and how sound is played and how video is played back on Apple versus Microsoft. So if you have any weird combination, that uniquely or almost uniquely identifies you on the web. It gets your IP address also. It needs to know where to send the information back, right? We think we're going to the website, but it's a two-way connection. I'm opening this, it's sending me data. You know their address because you went there. They need to know your address to send stuff back, right? So this combination gives you a unique, semi-unique fingerprint on the internet. If you have a really, really weird setup, like if you have two screens of two weird sizes, like they're not the same size as each other, that becomes more and more unique, because it's less likely someone else has the exact same two weird sizes.
Okay, so with app connected devices, some apps like baby monitors, you need, well, to download an app. Something with doorbell cameras, you need to download an app. These apps need to basically connect to the internet. They function on, well, the vendors, the company's cloud.
It's a hacking vector, meaning if somebody hacks the server, because the thing about the app, it usually doesn't talk to the device directly. It usually has to call home. It connects to the device through the internet, through the server of the company that runs this. If they hack that, somebody hacks that server, they have access to your device and your app, right? So they can intercept your commands and do stuff. They can make your device do stuff. Who needs that? Who needs that, really? Just walk over and burn your toast yourself. Perfect example of this was baby monitors. There were app-controlled baby monitors, so you can watch your baby when you're not home, right? The app on your phone, you get to see, it was a camera and a microphone, you can see what's going on with your baby. And then somebody hacked the server, got access to millions of these baby cams. It's for a baby. So now they got a bunch of pictures of stuff happening in your house. And this is not just about the baby. You go to the room sometime to do stuff and say stuff, right? Well, now they have access to that too, right? They have a camera and a microphone in your house. You put it there and they have access to it, whoever hacked the service. Doorbell cameras, same thing. They can, because there's some cameras, a lot of them have a camera now, just for like a security camera to see who's there, but you can access it through your app. And if you hack, so you can see when you're not home, somebody rings the doorbell, it beeps on your phone, you can go see who's there, and you can talk to them through the microphone, right? So if somebody hacks that service, well, they can see what's going on at your doorbell. They can see if somebody's there or not, right? Vendor bricking. This has been happening so much in the past 10 years. I don't understand how we haven't had an armed revolution yet. This is basically the manufacturer of your device deliberately sends an update that will prevent your device from ever turning on ever again. Okay? It's because the model's too old. They don't want to support it anymore because they need to keep their servers up to keep your app connected to that device. But different models need different servers, different instances of the server. And when it says this model's too old, let's just shut down the server. Well, before that, we need to make sure nobody's trying to call us, so this is going to spam our website, right? So they send an update through the internet to the device so that the device can no longer turn on. So the thing you bought that was working fine, and it's still working fine, now it can't work anymore. There's a few examples we're going to go through. HP, it's probably the third most evil company in the history of the world. They started doing this to their printers just a couple of years ago. It's called Instant Ink. They call it an ink subscription. So you don't have to worry about buying ink ever again. When your printer runs low, it calls home, they ship you a new cartridge and charge your credit card. Convenient, right? And there's a monthly membership for this, right? That's not all it does. If that's all it did, that's cool. That's cool. That's not all it does. The ink that's in the printer, every time you go to print something, the printer calls home and checks if you have a subscription and it's paid for this month. If it is, you get the print. If it isn't, you don't get the print. You paid for the printer. The ink is physically in the machine. But if you don't have an active subscription that's paid right now, your printer won't let you print. Whose printer is this now? It ain't yours, that's for sure. Sonos, they did bricking really hard. It's a Bluetooth speaker, okay? We have Bluetooth speaker at home. A lot of people do. I got a cheap no-name brand from Amazon. I turn on the Bluetooth, it beeps on the thing, and then I play my music, and it goes over there. There's buttons on the speaker. I can make it louder or not louder or whatever. Now, Sonos, they're really expensive speakers. I don't know if they're any good or not because I hate the company, but they're really expensive speakers, and it comes with an app, so you can control the speaker. I guess you can adjust the properties of the sound, like with a sound equalizer and probably other weird stuff. When the speaker model gets a little bit too old, the manufacturer, Sonos, pushes an update to the speaker, and then the speaker's bricked. It won't turn on anymore. It's a Bluetooth speaker, and now it can't work. Every time something's app connected, remember this. Usually the device calls home, your app calls home, and they talk on the server. It's not your phone talking to the device directly. That almost never happens. Because why would they do that? This gives them control on the device in your house. So now you have to go buy another speaker. Because this one, it won't turn on again. It's not that the app doesn't work. They pushed an update to the physical speaker to prevent it from turning on. And it can't be undone. Samsung TVs. They sold a bunch of TVs with a feature called Art Mode. So when you're not watching TV, it starts to display art. Okay? So you can have your pictures in there, and it displays your picture. You know, like people have the digital picture frames. They're getting more and more popular. Well, you can do this with your TV. You also had, if you pay a higher monthly subscription, higher, which means it's not the base one, they had a library of actual art, like stuff in museums that could get displayed on your TV. It's pretty cool, right? And if people want to pay a monthly subscription for that part of it, that's fine. That's their business, because you are accessing, you know, stuff that doesn't belong to you, like the art things. But then Samsung decided, like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that anymore. Not just the art stuff from the museum, even your pictures can't be displayed anymore. So you bought a TV with a feature. If you buy it with that feature with the intent of using it, well, now you don't have it anymore. You bought the TV with the thing, and now it no longer has the thing, right? Same thing happened to our TV, because our TV is ancient. It's like 16 years old. It had Netflix, I think Hulu, and one or two other things. When we bought the TV, we weren't watching Netflix because it was that long ago. We had DVDs. We still have them somewhere. There's a big pile. But then when we started watching Netflix, we got an account and we signed into the app, and it's not only convenient, we'll talk about it in, I think it's next topic, Netflix and other streaming apps, the quality of the video is way better if you're watching it in the app, not on the browser. And then they decided after a few years, about 5, yeah, your TV is too old. The new version of the app doesn't run on this. So we're just going to brick your app. So now the Netflix app on our TV, you try to launch it, it says, yeah, no, can't work. We don't need the most recent app. You're saying the old one couldn't work anymore? It couldn't keep working? They did this on purpose to be jerks, right? So now what we do is we have an old laptop that is too old to do anything else, and we just stream YouTube or not Netflix anymore. They're out. Streaming services. We run it on the laptop and ship it to the TV by HDMI, and it's fine. Nest thermostats. I think it's the first generation of Nest thermostats. For those of you who don't know, Google, yeah, them again. They made a smart thermostat. No, the thermostat didn't go to school. It's just called smart. It's a thermostat that it's not just a programmable thermostat. There's a bunch of features on it, and there's an app. You can control it remotely, so you can turn on the AC or the heat, depending what time of year it is, when you're not even home. So when you get home, it's actually nice and comfy. Because, yeah, programmable thermostats had the feature you can set a schedule, but it's a fixed schedule. What if you're running late? What if you're coming home early, right? Whereas this allowed you with an app to set what's going on at home. Well, they decided that thermostat, the first generation, it's too old now. So we're going to brick it and not let it work anymore. These ain't cheap, okay? As far as thermostats go, this one was expensive. And now it's only a few years old. Like, we have a thermostat at home. It's a smart thermostat. We don't use the smart features. It's just that's the temperature. Just don't mess with it. That's the temperature. Leave it alone. And I don't know how old it is. Okay, we've been in that house 18 years. It came with the house. I don't know how old it is. It's ancient. Last month it says the batteries were dead. So that thing has batteries? As opposed to a really expensive thermostat that you use for a couple of years, and then it's junk. You have to rip it out of the wall and buy another one.
So I bought a medical device that is linked to my phone and says that it's connected without using the internet. I'd like to know how.
Well, how did it connect to your phone? There has to be a step, right?
But when it comes up on okay, you're now connected.
Yeah.
You brought up the list of 87 houses around your house, around your neighborhood that you can connect to.
Yeah.
This device was listed in that.
It makes its own Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Okay. And then your app connected to it.
Mm-hmm. But it says.
Which means your phone connected to it.
But connected without the internet.
No, but your phone connected to the Wi-Fi of that thing.
Yes.
Okay. If your data, not Wi-Fi, data was on your phone, your app is now a bridge. It can reach the device by Wi-Fi and the internet with your data. It's a bridge. Anything connects to your phone will have access to the internet as long as your phone has access to the internet. So
Okay.
that's what happened. And that's why they want app-connected devices. It's one way to get their device to call back home using your hardware. Because all the examples we had before, baby monitors and doorbell cameras, they don't talk to your phone directly. Your camera probably does, because it's set up, it's on Wi-Fi, it's talking to your phone directly, because you want real-time video feed. These ones don't do that. They get on your Wi-Fi, they call home, the app on your phone gets on your Wi-Fi or whatever, you don't have to be home, and it calls to the server, and the server matches you up based on the account number. So the feed goes from the device to the internet back to your phone, even if you're 3 feet away from the thing, right? Which means if they shut down their server, because I don't want to support this model anymore, which is what happened in these two cases. So that's all the app connected crap that doesn't need to be connected to an app. That's the danger of it. It always goes through the company's server, which means if they have some kind of breach, people can know your address, because you might have a mailing address associated with this. Because if you need a monthly subscription, they want to know where you live, your credit card number and your name. And these people got eyes in your house. They can tell if you're home or not, and then come and they have your address, right? No, I'm not trying to scare you guys. Cloud connected devices. Anytime something has access to the internet, it's never good. First of all, they love to put ads absolutely everywhere. Anytime they start putting screens on things that don't need a screen, you know why the screen's there. They're going to start playing ads. Samsung, them again. They made a fridge, more than one of them, but they made a fridge with a screen on it, a big one. I have a question. Who here watches TV on their fridge? Nobody, right? First of all, the screen's the wrong way. It's tall and narrow. It's like when you hold your phone standing up instead of landscape. Everything on Netflix, Amazon Prime, all the TV shows are meant to be looked in landscape mode, not portrait mode. So it's not for that. There's apps in there. Who needs a calculator on their phone? I guess if you're cooking, you want to do conversions of stuff. Yeah, you could do that. You can order stuff. Some of these fridges have a camera in the fridge that you press a button on the screen and it shows you what's in the fridge without opening the door. Seriously, you could open the door and look. Like, no, just press the button, the camera, so you don't turn on the... After they got people to buy these fridges, guess what happened? You're in your kitchen and the fridge started playing ads at you. It's a big giant screen. They got speakers somehow. They're playing ads on your freaking fridge. And it's not a cheap fridge. It's not like, oh, we're going to give you a huge discount, but you got to watch ads. Because for a long time, that was the price to pay, right? You want something for free, there's going to be ads. This was a $3,000 fridge. First of all, how do you get a $3,000 fridge? I have no idea. And there's ads. It's ridiculous. Stupid cars. All right, stupid company, bad company, even worse company. And there's others that have joined them since. But these three, there's been documented, and another one happened just last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago. All cars today have this big, giant touchscreen in the middle of the car because, they want you to crash. They put buttons on there. How are you supposed to press a button if it's a touchscreen? You have to look at it, take your eyes off the road. That is dangerous. These three companies and others now, they're playing ads on your touchscreen while you're driving. Last week, I think it was a Ford, the new Spider-Man movie came out. And no, it was BMW, sorry. BMW, they're not that smart. They played the trailer for the movie on the touchscreen of the car. It was like a deal they had with the movie. All BMWs and only BMWs got the trailer for the movie on the touchscreen. We're not allowed to even have our phone in our hands to look at the GPS. We get pulled over and get a ticket. They're allowed to blast ads that are going to startle us and bring our attention away from the road. They're allowed to do that. Fuck that shit. You have a question?
The same topic.
Yeah.
You talk about intrusive ads.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there must be a way how to turn that off. Refrigerator with the screen.
Well, there's one way. Take your hammer and have a swing at it. The guy I keep quoting, Louis Rossmann, 2 S's, 2 N's. He bought one of those refrigerators on purpose to have his people look at it and see if there's a way, a firmware trick or whatever, to disable the ad service and still keep the screen.
But how does it work? It's refrigerator. So
Yeah. It's on your Wi-Fi.
It's on Wi-Fi.
So because why not? It has access to the internet. It has a microphone and a camera. It can hear what you're talking about. It can hear about what you're trying to make. It can see what's inside your fridge, because that's how they justified the screen the first time. There's a camera facing inside your fridge so that if you want to know what's inside, you don't have to open the door anymore. You press a button, turns on the camera. Buy-in functionality. Tesla Autopilot. They had different levels based on, which software update you had. And you get all the updates so that everybody has the same level of autopilot if the hardware in your car supports it. But then they had a distinction between like advanced autopilot and regular autopilot. I don't know what the difference was. One of them you had to pay a subscription for, the other one you didn't. So if you get the subscription, then you sell your car. The guy who bought it from you, he knows you had the higher grade. Not everybody knows about subscriptions that you needed for the advanced features. When they test drove it, they had the advanced features. You buy the car, and then as soon as Tesla realizes this is not the same owner, they don't have a subscription. Turn on the advanced features, and now you bought a car that had a feature, no longer has it, right? So look, the car has the stuff to do it. Why do I have to pay a subscription for? You paid for the hardware when you bought the car. I have to pay for the privilege of using that thing you bought.
But I would say that the benefit, like if in the car there is an app, whatever, that would detect or assess how that person actually is feeling right now, like having a heart attack or
See, that
seizure or something.
Ford filed a patent for exactly that earlier this year. Every manufacturer started having some version of driver monitoring to see if you're falling asleep. And sometimes they just put a warning. Like Mercedes had this. One of my students sent me a picture like, there's a picture of a coffee pot on the dashboard of the car. Like the light is shaped like a coffee pot. What is that? Huh? I had to look it up. The car thinks you're driving erratically, so it wants you to stop, have a coffee. And I told him, who's driving when this happens? My sister. Tell her to watch it. The car thinks she's distracted or falling asleep. And that's fine. I'm fine with that. Because sometimes you're not aware that you're driving erratically. What Ford filed the patent for is they want camera in your dash facing your face. It's going to monitor your pupils and stuff. And if you're not in a state that the car thinks you should be driving, it won't even turn on.
That would be helpful when people are driving along and texting, looking down, and you can't see the pupils.
Well, no, the camera flags that. Can't see your eyes, you shouldn't be driving right. You're distracted. And
I would agree with that.
yeah, but no, I agree. There's and that's the case they're trying to make, and I agree with that. But let's say you get a phone call and there's an emergency. You're fine, but you need to get your butt somewhere to pick somebody up quick because they got hurt. Or somebody's hurt in your house, you have to drive to the hospital. You're going to be agitated, right? What if the camera doesn't let you start the car because they see you're agitated? Right? That's a problem.
Like, what if you need to get out of somewhere or drive your wife to the hospital?
What if some crazy person's driving behind you and they're waving a gun around? You're going to keep your pupils under control? I don't think so. They're all going to have this. Once somebody figures something out and people don't just like, we're not buying this car, nobody's buying this car. If people are buying that car, everyone else is going to start doing it. Everybody's going to start doing it. Tesla were the first to have the big giant screen. Oh, it looks like it's from the future. Everybody's got big giant screens now. Not as big as the Teslas, but everybody's got big giant screens now. Even Honda, who says like, oh, we're safety first. They put the goddamn fan controls on the touchscreen. Am I the only one who changed the fan when they're driving? Not just me. Okay. So now you have to change the fan. You have to move your eyes. It's a touchscreen. And it's not a one touch. You have to get into climate control. And then you have to see how far along you want the fan, even turning the AC on. The temperature is still up. It's like, really? Safety first? I don't think so. So the autopilot, to get back to Tesla, because they were inventing stuff as they were selling cars, they're not really good. Software updates would improve the capabilities of the autopilot later on, after you bought the car. And they're the first ones who had these software updates, just like your phone and your laptop do. Now, almost all of them have software updates. All of a sudden you get, I saw a story 3 months ago, somebody had to have their 1-year-old pickup towed because the software update failed. And just like your laptop, when the software update fails, it just reboots. Okay, but this is a car. Software failed, cannot operate safely. Please have this vehicle towed to the dealership. Yeah, but get this, the software update was for the window controller. First of all, what kind of stupid software do you need? It's a window. It goes up, it goes down, right? They had an update for that. The update failed, and now the car's not safe to drive. BMW, them again. Heated seats. They said this was a cost-saving measures for them on the manufacturing side. And that can be true. That can be true. Because I did some digging into this more recently. About 90% of BMWs are sold with heated seats, only 10% without. So yes, if you have to keep extra stock just for 10% of your cars, that's disproportionately expensive. It was actually cost savings to have everybody have heated seats. If that's really a cost saving measure for you, and it is, just put heated seats in every car and the buyer doesn't have a choice. You get heated seats. You don't want them, just don't press the button. They're still in the car. It's not a huge expense in terms of the price of the car, especially for BMW. If they were legit trying to cut costs, that's a good way to do it. Give everybody heated seats and that's it. It's a better car anyway, right? Even if you don't want it. They did this last year. They've changed their mind since. It took them a good 6 months to realize that people are mad at us more than usual. Why is that? It's because they're not going to make cars with and without heating seats anymore. They're just all of them are going to have heated seats, but not all of them are going to work. You have to have a subscription for your heated seats to work. You have them in your car. You're sitting on them. You press the button. The car calls home to see if you have a valid subscription for the heated seats. If you do, your butt gets warm. If you don't, sorry, freeze your ass off. I changed all my passwords to incorrect. I tell this to people seriously, and half of them take me seriously. So when I forget, it tells me your password is incorrect. Oh, thank you so much. Password managers. Everybody hates passwords. Everybody does. Because you can't just pick a password anymore. It has to fit their rules. You pick a password, you have the same password everywhere, but this site says, no, you need a special character. There is one. Yeah, no, not that one. It's not on our list of approved special characters. Oh, how does that make it safer? If you need me to have a special character, but not any of them, just specific ones, it restricts the possible passwords. It's actually less safe. You need an uppercase. You need the numbers. You need this. You need that. All of us, some of us have come up with like a password that has all those common things. There's always some stupid, dumbass website that says you're not allowed to have this special character. And then every time you go to log in, you don't know what your password is anymore. You have the same standard variations of passwords that you normally have. And they say, nope, that's not it. And some places when I go, I have to recover password. That's how I get in. I don't remember what my password was because your rules are just too weird, too different from all the other places I go to. So to solve that manufacturer problem, there's password managers. It's a service you subscribe to. Yes, you have to pay money. I don't use them. I don't know. And what they do is they save your passwords. I'm not talking about the browser feature which says, remember your password? Never say yes to any of that crap. This is a separate service that you register for. You set up an account with a password, and then all your passwords are saved in there. This is what logs you into the websites. You don't need to remember any of your passwords because it has them. You can also lose all your passwords at the same time if you forget the one password that lets you in, or the app that lets you in, or the however it lets you in. If you lost access to this, you lost all your passwords. Good luck. Good job. Good job. Password sniffing. There's browser extensions that are not cool. They install them, you install them because they promise you something that sounds like, hey, I want that. But then what they really do is that they watch what you're typing on your keyboard. It's called a keylogger. And because websites label the fields that you're filling in, if one of them is called password, it's going to pay attention to that one, and now it knows your password, right? Autofill, turn that shit off. The danger with autofill. Yes, it's convenient. You don't have to type your long password. Yes. Somebody else grabs your phone or your laptop or your whatever. They go to a place they want to log in, and if you remember your password, or if you have autofill, they just click and say yes and go in. They don't need to know your password. Your device knows your password, and they can get in. Clipboard. Some people keep a file with all their passwords. Because we live in such a world where passwords are so complicated, you need to write them somewhere. If you know, they said, don't write it anywhere. Well, don't make it weird then. Your clipboard is not safe. Every program has access to it because the purpose is to copy stuff from one program to another, right? How do they know it's your password that you're copy pasting? Well, passwords have a certain look to them, right? We can tell what a password looks like. It's not a regular, first of all, there's no spaces in it. That's one character that's not allowed. Funny story. There's a hockey player on the team that I cheer for. Because hockey players, they never use their real name. Their teammates, as part of initiation of bringing the team, they find a nickname that either describes you or bugs you. Because the way that his name is spelled, he's got all the high-value Scrabble letters in there, right? His nickname is Wi-Fi. It looks like the default password for the Wi-Fi that comes with your router. So yeah, if you're copying something weird, you'll notice like that looks like a password. Oh, you like that. And then I know a password that's valid for this guy, right? So, two-factor authentication. I like two-factor authentication. I try to use it whenever I can, not always, because some things like I don't need two-factor for this, right? But generally speaking, if that's an option, I like to have it. So, first of all, what is two-factor authentication? For the longest time, you enter your username, and then you enter your password, and then you get in. That's one factor. Two-factor says, yeah, you enter your password, just like before, and then it says, whoa, 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 whoa. We need to check that you're you. Just because you know your own password doesn't mean it's you. We just talked why, right? So it will ask you, it will challenge you a different way. Okay, there's a bunch of them. It can send you an email to an email that was predetermined when you signed up your account. When you set up the two-factor for that account, you tell them, send my two-factor to this email address. Okay? If you want to change it later, you can. You have to be fully logged in. Okay? So you need to know your two-factor and use it, and then change which email you're going to use for the next time. Text message. I never use this because it's weird. But they can text you like a special code, and then it's like, what code did we just text you? This one, they can call you, and the robot lady's going to tell you the code, and then type it in the thing. Authenticator app, I like this one a lot. There's, I think, two main ones people use. There's Google Authenticator, there's Microsoft Authenticator. Basically, it's an app on your phone, and when you set up as two-factor using the Authenticator app for a specific account, that account calls Google or Microsoft, whichever one you're using, whichever one you set up, and then your app calls Google and Microsoft, whichever one it is, and there's like a 6-digit security code that expires every minute, and there's a new one. And that new one's good for 60 seconds, and then it expires, and a new one, right? So when they ask you, what's the code in your Authenticator app, you open your Authenticator app, you look for which account we're talking about, and what's the current code for the current minute for that app. So I feel safe using that. App notification. Google uses this. Some banks started using this, I think. Not banks, Amazon, I think. It's not that common anymore. I wish it was more common because that's very convenient. Google uses it a lot, I know that. Basically, you try to log into a service. That service, if you have their app on your device, it can send a button for you to press to the app. So you open the app, press the button. And then that tells them, yeah, okay, he's there. Okay, so all these, you noticed, text, call, Authenticator app, and app, these last four, you have to have your phone, right? First one, email, yeah, it works on your phone, works on your laptop also. So these are safe as long as your phone is safe, because all of these are accessible from your phone. If you lost your phone or somebody else has your phone, they can try to log in. If they know your password, it's going to send the two-factor authentication request to the phone, and they have it. And then they can do whatever, as long as they have access to the stuff they need to have access to, right? So It's a good idea. It beats having just a password, but all of these are dependent on you having your phone with you and no one else grabbing your phone. You can lose access to your account if your second factor is lost. So thank you for watching our video. If you want to subscribe to our channel, you can click here. If you want to go back to the previous topic, click up here. If you want to click to the next topic, just go here. If you want the playlist with all our classes, please click here.